If you permit, Mr. Speaker.
Just read your statement, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, why are you making my enemies happy? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a statement pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1 to present the business for the week that will commence on 11th of November, 2025. The legislative business before the Senate is as follows. 62 bills are pending conclusion, of which 44 are the second reading, 15 are the committee of the whole, and 3 at the first reading stage, of which 1 is on schedule in today's order paper. There are 35 motions, Mr. Speaker, that are pending conclusion. 19 petitions are currently pending conclusion, out of which 15 are actually due for reporting. Mr. Speaker, I continue to urge the chairpersons of those committees that have petitions that are due for reporting to expedite and bring reports. I must note, Mr. Speaker, that today we moved fairly well and have actually cleared about 4 reports from the various committees by way of voting. So I want to commend the chairpersons that process that work and urge the rest, the 15 of them, that we consider them. There are 472 statements, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1 that are being considered by the standing committees. As senators, you might be aware, at orders number 10 to 14, there are several motions. We actually have spoken to that, Mr. Speaker. Further, at order number 20, the County Government's Additional Allocation Bill, Senate Bill number 8 of 2025, has been listed for consideration, Mr. Speaker, of the National Assembly amendments. This is an important financial instrument that will facilitate additional funding to county government's operation. It goes without saying that we need to give this matter utmost priority. Mr. Speaker, I must say that I am disappointed, allow me to say this, because we have tried to process this business from Tuesday, but we cannot seem to raise the requisite number. In fact, somebody was asking me this week, why do people fight so hard to come to this house, Mr. Speaker? If you deny them party tickets, they can almost destroy you. But then once you've been elected, we can't find you to pass business. It's unfortunate, Mr. Speaker. This county government additional allocation, there is no amount of money, Mr. Senator Khalwale, that will make people do their work. It's the passion. You have to appreciate. Mr. Speaker, some of us, in fact, if I was to confess, Mr. Speaker, I'm supposed to be on paternity leave, but I've been on work the whole of this week because I know how important this work is, Mr. Speaker. But you can't find people, Mr. Speaker, to come.
What is your point of order, Senator Boni?
Standing Order number 105. Did you hear the Leader of the Majority announce that he's being denied an opportunity to go on maternity leave? Could he prove that he's pregnant, Mr. Speaker? Mr.
Senator,
Speaker, laymen are
Boni.
shouting, Mr. Speaker,
Senator,
and they don't know that pregnancy is
Senator
carried
Boni.
by women in this country. Are you suggesting Leader of the Majority is a woman? And if he is, Mr. Speaker...
Order. Senator Boni, that laughter speaks a lot. And that's what I'll use to make my ruling. You're totally out of order. Proceed, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know what Senator Boni Khalwale had for lunch, Mr. Speaker. I saw him taking some colorless liquid, which I assume to be water. but now that he's not hearing me well, Mr. Speaker, I may be tempted to believe that it may be some of the favorite drink I see him enjoy over the weekend before bullfighting. Mr. Speaker, on Tuesday next week, which is the 11th of November 2025, after the SBC meets to consider the business of the week, we shall be proposing to the House various critical bills that have also been part and parcel of our legislative journey this session. Mr. Speaker, I've just had a meeting with the chairperson of Agriculture Committee. They are representative of coffee farmers in this house. We have tried to do the coffee bill for the last 2 years. It is now at the mediation stage. And I want to plead with members of the mediation committee, Senator Catherine Muma and the rest of your colleagues, that avail yourself, it will be a travesty of justice of the greatest proportion if we break for the long recess without concluding on the coffee bill. Our farmers are waiting for this bill because it is transformational and it helps them earn better and manage this sector better, Mr. Speaker. For the last 2 years, that bill has been between both houses of parliament, and it is now finally in the mediation committee. Our cooperatives bill, Mr. Speaker, another very important piece of legislation. We all know at least a representative or members of cooperative societies back in our villages. At least any representative of the people in this house knows a few members of our SACCOs. And you know the challenges that our SACCOs continue to face. The law that is in use presently, Mr. Speaker, is a 2005 law. It is not even in conformity with the new constitution. We have done a lot of work on that particular bill, but cannot conclude on it until we raise the requisite quorum. I want to plead with you members that please let us try and conclude on this bill for the sake of the people that we represent in this house, Mr. Speaker. There is a Technopolis bill, Mr. Speaker, that include the setting up of regional hubs like Konza City and the rest that are in line, Mr. Speaker. I want to request that members find the time that we come and conclude on that business. On Wednesday, Mr. Speaker, during question time, we shall have the Minister for Gender, Minister for Public Service and Special Programs, the CS for National Treasury, who shall be responding to questions by various members. I want to request, Mr. Speaker, that that we actually find the time to come and interact with this cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker. The last 2 weeks have been very interesting listening to that particular session, and I want to appreciate the colleagues that take time to come and grill our ministers and make sure that they respond to the representatives of the people. We had the Minister for Health last week. This week we spent quite some time with the Minister for Interior, who actually did not conclude on the list of questions. We shall reschedule for those members whose questions were not considered during that session. But next week, those are the ministers. There are various bills, Mr. Speaker, that are the second reading stage, very important bills as well, which I hope that we can conclude on, Mr. Speaker, including an amendment to the PFM. I'm not sure we can conclude on that, but it's an important amendment, Mr. Speaker, that will grant this House adequate time to consider the BPS, Budget Policy Statement. Remember, we only have 14 days upon the laying of the Budget Policy Statement by 14th of February, most of the time, when we resume, and by the 28th, which is 2 weeks after that, all our committees are supposed to have considered, listened to, engage stakeholders, Mr. Speaker, and bring a report to this House. Sometimes that time is too limiting, and we end up, Mr. Speaker, not doing the right thing. There are certain things which I believe, if we were to take a decision at the BPS level, Mr. Speaker, and I can give an example off the top of my mind. For example, if we made a decision as a House, I saw somebody, I think it was Senator Amida, or I don't know who it was, yesterday requesting for a statement on payments to CHPs, community health promoters. Mr. Speaker, we should just include it in our BPS and tell the National Treasury that this year, the next financial year, Mr. Speaker, we shall not allow this business of partial payment, 50% by county governments and 50% by the national government. We should send all that money in its entirety to the county governments. Then governors can pay these people. And so many other things that we can do at BPS level. There is that amendment that is before this House, which I believe next week, should time allow, Mr. Speaker, we need to move, conclude on it, and hopefully that can allow us a better interaction with BPS next year. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, that is a conclusion of the statement. I want to request that we find time next week to consider all that business. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, it's just something that I want to add to this House. I have observed with a lot of disturbance, Mr. Speaker, that occasionally when our committees visit the counties, as they do every weekend, tomorrow there are committees that are going to different parts, that we conduct ourselves in a way, Mr. Speaker, that represents the august House that we are. There was an altercation last week, I don't know it was in which county. Previously, I saw one in Kakamega. Mr. Speaker, I don't feel that that is a good representation of us as a House. I want to urge members that even as we do our work, Mr. Speaker, let us do it in a way that people will represent county visits as they should. With those very many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I thank you and request to lay this statement of the House. Thank you.
delegated legislative that is passed. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I don't see any further interest. Would the mover want to? Is the mover ready to reply? Mover to reply. The Honorable Mwenje, you are the deputy chair of that committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, I want to put it on record because I've noticed members were confusing that this is a report by the Committee of Implementation following the motion that was brought forth by delegated legislation adopted by this House, then referred to the Committee of Implementation for purposes of implementation. Honorable Speaker, first of all, let me thank all the members who've contributed to this bill and to this motion, to this report. And more importantly, Honorable Speaker, it is clear because you can see that there was no member who rose to even not support this motion. Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary, when he issued that this circular, the head of public service, together with the other annulled circular, those three circulars are what he has been relying on for purposes of EGP. This House nullified Circular 4 of PPRA. Now, these two additional circulars, to make it clear, are the circulars that the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury is relying on for purposes of EGP. Therefore, if this House adopts this report, those two additional circulars stands nullified and EGP becomes a thing of the past, Honorable Speaker. We need to make that quite clear. Honorable Speaker, EGP as it stands, and as a courtesy of these two circulars that are there, violates Article 227, 1 of the Constitution, that provides that there should be the system, the procurement system should be fair, competitive, and cost-effective. This system does not meet those standards. So by nullifying these two circulars, we're actually complying with Article 227, 1 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, just to make it clear, if the Cabinet Secretary wants to implement EGP, he must amend Section 77 of the PPAD Act, bring it here, and that provision provides for both electronic and manual. He must bring an amendment to this House to amend and create that it be electronic alone. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, in order for you to activate an electronic system, Section 7(2)(c) of the same Act provides that Treasury shall submit regulations to this House for purposes of creating a procurement system that respects and promotes distinctiveness of national and county levels. Honorable Speaker, you've heard every member speaking on behalf of their various areas and regions they represent, that electricity is not 100%. And Honorable Speaker, even for me as a member of parliament in Nairobi, where we might have electricity connected in my entire constituency, we can tell you we don't have internet all the time. We don't have electricity all the time. So that means, and more importantly, even the hustlers, the low people who are trying to get these jobs, Honorable Speaker, these people cannot meet the standards that have been provided that have been set out by EGP as it stands currently. So, Honorable Speaker, we need to go on record that this House is not opposed to an EGP system. That is not what we are here for. We're not opposed to better procurement systems. What we are opposed to is the executive legislating on behalf of this House. There's a proper procedure that the Cabinet Secretary can follow, and through that can introduce, bring it to delegated legislation for purposes of the regulations, and bring it to this House for purposes of the Act, and that will have been sufficient for him to introduce this system. Without that, Honorable Speaker, with this report, once adopted, this circular stand nullified. Honorable Speaker, it is my prayer that once we finish this, it will be implemented immediately by Treasury, make sure that it's followed down to all procurement entities, and failure to do so, Honorable Speaker, that this House is within its right to sanction the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury, which would be a sad affair considering that only about 15 months ago, that Cabinet Secretary just sat right here next to us, Honorable Speaker. I pray that Honorable Bangi will respect the decision of this House. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Honorable members, I now put the question that further to the resolution of the House of 19th August 2025 regarding nullification of circular number 4 of 2025 on enforcement of compliance with the mandatory use of the electronic government procurement system, EGBS, and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 2092, this House adopts the fourth report of the Select Committee on Implementation on the implementation status of the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of Public Procurement Regulatory Authority Circular number 4 of 2025, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, the 14th of October, the year 2025, and nullifies Roman 1, circular reference number NT/PPD/1/3/14, volume 6, dated 26 March 2022 by the Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury and Economic Planning, directing accounting officers